Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The province says there are thousands of homes that could be available to renters or buyers, homes that are now being used on platforms like Airbnb. The province tabled new laws today aimed at cracking down on the exploding number of short-term rentals. But critics say the legislation will harm small businesses and the tourism industry. CTV's Rob Buffum has the story.
It's the latest effort to free up rental homes. New laws tabled today aimed at cracking down on short-term rentals, such as those listed on Airbnb.
While British Columbians struggle to find a good place to call home, the number of listings for short-term rentals platforms has grown rapidly.
The province says currently there are about 28,000 daily short-term rental listings in BC, a figure that has ballooned by 20% in the last year. Under the legislation, only principal residences can be rented out short-term, plus another unit on the same property.
These are quite sweeping changes that may affect the industry across BC.
The principal residence rule doesn't automatically apply to resorts and communities of less than 10,000 people, an effort to recognize the tourism interests of towns like Tofino and the high cost of hotels. But Nancy Payne, who operates a short-term rental company in Victoria that has 58 hosts, all but one owned by clients as investments, says she's going to be out of a job.
It will kill my business, absolutely, and not to mention the 15 people that are employed by me.
Short-term rental giant Airbnb was swift to express its disapproval too, noting the BC government's proposed legislation won't alleviate the province's housing concerns. Instead, it will take money out of the pockets of British Columbians, make travel more unaffordable for millions of residents who travel within BC.
What this is going to do is you're actually going to start to see some of these housing providers pushed into the black market.
The legislation creates a registry requiring platforms, including Airbnb, to share their data with the province and ensure all hosts list their business license numbers. There will be bigger fines, up to $3,000 a day per infraction for hosts, and the rules will be enforced by a provincial agency, taking the burden off city bylaw.
It's huge, and not just like the data sharing piece, but the enforcement piece is going to relieve us of so much responsibility.
The rules for principal residences will come into effect in May. The registry won't be created for a year.
And Rob Buffum joins us live from Victoria with more. Rob, what impact does the province expect these measures will have for opening up more long-term rental units?
Well, that's the big question, of course, mi-jung. And the government said by their count there's about 16,000 entire homes that are rented out for most of the year. So they say even if only half of those are converted when these new rules come into effect in May, that's about 8,000 new long-term rentals. The official opposition scoffs at that. They say there's about 30 to 40% illegal short-term rentals at the moment. So even with stiffer penalties and a province-wide enforcement, they say it's unlikely the effect won't be simply to drive more of these short-term rentals underground. We'll have to find out, of course, when these rules come into effect in May. Mi-jung.
All right, Rob Buffum reporting live tonight from Victoria. Thanks, Rob.